All right, in the last video we worked on building this app icon and navigation that also is responsive for mobile and shows these tabs here. Now we're going to work on building out some of these tabs, and we're going to start with the feed. Now for all the data that's used in these tabs, feed, gallery, the account information, we're going to structure this in JSON data that we can then loop through. That way we only have to write our HTML markup once. So we're going to go down to our data here, and let's start with the feed. And this will have an array of posts objects. So we'll have a post. Here we'll have the user that created the post. I think we'll actually do user ID, and we're going to create another object with users so that we can reference that data throughout the posts themselves, and then also for the comments. So we'll have a user ID. We're going to have an image here of the image that they posted. We'll have a description for that post. We'll also have a date when they posted it. We'll have, do we want to include, we could do likes as well. So we can do likes. So this will be a number. And then we'll have comments. So comments, this is going to be another array. And this will include the user ID of the person that commented. We'll have what their comment is. So we could call this content, the content within their comment. We'll then have, let me just put, say 2 here. We can also have date here. And based off of the image here, for my code this, I think that's all we'll need. While their name, we'll pull from their user information, their image from their user info. We'll have the description, the date, and the content. Yeah. That's good. We'll update here. And then we'll have replies, which is once again gonna be another array where we'll have the user ID, the content, we'll have the date as well. So that's the basic structure of what our posts will be. And then we'll also have our users. So this, we can have the information that we see here on the little user profile. So we have their name. Well, first off, they'll have an ID. So this is going to be the ID that we reference from user ID in comments, replies, and posts. So ID, I'll put 1 here. Then we can have their name. Can have a title for them. So like photographer. Then we can have, we'll include an image as well for their profile picture. And then we can have post count. I'll just write in numbers here as fillers. Post count, following count. 406. And follower count, 79. So here's our super basic structure. I'll just add some placeholders here. Name, actually I'll write this first one, Francis P. Photographer. Image, we'll grab one from Unsplash real quick. All right, we got our image from Unsplash with 500, that's fine. Actually, we'll make it a little bit smaller. We'll go 240. And then we're gonna have our post. So I'll get another picture from Unsplash. Maybe I'll do a landscape. We'll grab, this first one looks pretty cool. We'll copy the full image address. Put a description. Cool landscape. date. So this we may end up using an actual like date format, but for now I'm just gonna have a string, say maybe 4 hours ago for when this was posted. Then we have comments, say awesome photo, and they posted this 3 hours ago, the first comment, and then we'll have someone reply to this saying, yes, this is awesome. And they posted that 2 hours ago. So we have a lot of data here. I'll actually duplicate this real quick and add 2 more users, just so all those users I can have that are referenced here, I'll have values for. So Francis, maybe, I don't know, Noah Williams, and Ethan Rodriguez. We'll leave this data for now. We'll update it later. But cool. So we have our basic data, and now we can start figuring out how we're going to add that into this feed. So I'm going to go back up here. First thing I'm going to do is set show app to true, just so it's shown the whole time, so I don't have to keep clicking the button. Set that to true. And then we can, where we have our header, underneath our header, we can add our content for our feed. So we'll just do a comment here, feed tab. Here we'll just make a div, and we'll just do xshow equals active navigation item equals. If the active nav item is feed, we'll show this so we can just see what that looks like real quick. Feed. So that is working. We can then do a really basic maybe grid for this, for these different posts. So we can do class grid calls. We'll actually leave it with nothing for mobile devices. So it'll default to grid calls 1, and then we'll do on small, maybe grid calls 2, medium, grid calls 3. We may adjust this. And then we'll do a gap of say 4. Now we can do a template. And this is where we're going to start looping through our posts. So we can do x4 equals posts in posts. And we need to have one child element whenever we use x4. So we'll just do a div here. And let's just see if some of that data is shown. So we'll do an image. We'll do the colon. So this is xbind in Alpine. So we're going to grab the post.image to show that. And we can see that is shown here. The alt tag we could add within our posts JSON data. We could add a description there, an alt tag. I'll leave it blank for now. I may come back and add that, but we'll add that here. We could also, let's do, maybe this is flex column. And down here beneath the image, we'll have a div that is flex justify between. That way we can throw to the one side, we'll throw the name of the author of, or the photographer of this image. And then on the right, we could show those likes. So we could do a span and x text equals post dot. This is where we're going to use our user ID. So actually we're going to create a function where we can get any of the user information from that post ID. So if we come down here, what we can do, figure out where this ends, is we can add a function that we can call. So we'll do, for this, we could do get user, and we'll get the user ID, and we can also pass in a property here. So we could do something like get user for, and then image. That's how we use it. So we can do get user ID, and then here we could do, let's see, we could do we could set user equal to this users, and we could find where the user ID is equal to the user ID that's passed in. And then we could return the user. So we'd return, so we'd return if the user exists and the user has the specific property we're looking for, then we're going to return that property. Otherwise, we can return null, undefined, but I'm just going to return a blank string here. So once again, we're checking the user's object to find within that where the ID is equal to the user ID that we pass in. We get that user. If that user exists and the user has a property of the property we passed in, then we're going to return the value for that user with that property. Otherwise, we return nothing. So to use that, we can go back up here and do xText equals get user. And we can turn in post user ID. So we're passing in that user ID for the specific post. And then we are going to pass in the property that we want. So for this, we want their name. Close that. And there we have their name. So that's pretty cool. And we could also do that, say if we wanted to do get their image, we could do something like img src, something like that. We don't need their image right now. We have their name. And then over here, we're going to do the likes. So we can show the number of likes and then also a heart. So let's do span xText equals post likes. So we have 5 likes here. And then we'll show a heart. So let's go to hero icons and search for a heart. And we'll copy this. Since we have justified between, it's spacing all this out. What we could do is just wrap this in a div here and do flex item center, maybe gap 1. There we go. So that's good. We could also, we'll just style this card, I guess we could call it, just a little bit more. So we'll go up here, could make this rounded, make it large, overflow hidden so that clips the edges of the image. Then we can do maybe add a border. And then down in this div, we could add some padding, maybe padding 2 or py2, px4. I also think I want these images a bit bigger, so maybe we'll change this to medium. Yeah, that looks better. I like that more. So this image, and then we also want to be handling dark mode here, so we can do border, dark border slate 600. Good. And then we'll could just do dark text white. Looks good. I'm going to do some pretty basic styling for these cards right now. I may come back and kind of make it look a little nicer, but for right now, I'm more so concerned about the functionality. So with this, we have our card with our hearts. Let's add another image real quick, just so we can see that it's pulling in multiple images. So posts, we can just copy this one, paste it in here. See that new image. Maybe this one is from the second user, Noah. And then we can also let's add a new image from Unsplash. There we go. And let's add one more, just for the fun of it. User ID 3. I don't need free images. Cool. Let's update some of these numbers. Maybe this is 9 likes. This is 14. Cool. Another thing that I think would be nice for this is if we make it so that you can click on the heart and it'll show a heart like filled, and then we can also increase this. So what we can do for each of these posts is we could set a Boolean to liked, and we'll say maybe false. Since false, this one is true, and this one is true. Go back up to our hearts, or single heart now, post likes, and we can do on click. So this is a div. Let's make this a button so I can click it. We'll add hovers and stuff in a minute, but first we're gonna make this work. So let's get a filled heart. So we'll do heart solid, copy this, go down here, paste this in like so. And I think we'll actually wrap this to here in a div. So we wrap that in a div, and then we'll do class relative, and we'll do flex. Reason I'm setting relative and flex is because what I'm going to do on this second one, this filled one, so I'm going to set this to absolute. So it'll be positioned right on top. And we can then we could do X show, X transition. But I think I want it to scale up all the way. So what I'm going to do instead is just do class equals, if it's liked, we're going to set, this is similar to kind of how we did the effect here for the border below. So we'll do, if it's liked, we'll do scale 100 and opacity 100. And if it's not liked, we'll set both those to 0. We'll then set transition to all. And I think both of these I'm going to update so that they are red, or I may do rows. It's pretty similar. That looks good. And this should not be liked. It should be post liked, right? Yeah, there we go. As you can see, these are shown here. And nothing happens when I click because I haven't added that yet. So we can do add click equals post dot liked equals not post dot liked equals now minus. And now you can see that change. Additionally, what we can do here is we'll actually do, just so it's a bit easier to read, let me bring this down here, and we'll do, so if post is liked, we are going to set post.light to false. And we're also going to do post minus minus. So we're going to reduce the count of posts by 1. Else, we're going to do the opposite of this. So we'll do post like true and post. I don't know why I did post here. This should be post liked. Post liked. So now we can click and oh, duh. Okay, this isn't post liked. It's post likes. Yeah. There we go. So that's pretty cool. And I think I may increase the transition just a little bit more for here. The duration, so we'll do, let's see, 500. How crazy does that look? I like it. So that's pretty neat. Yeah, that's looking good. So we could also do a hover effect here. I will come back to that. I want to get to showing more of this data first. And I think this is actually a good point to kind of break out of this container view. So we're really building out an entire page here, right? We have our tabs, our navigation. In mobile, we have our nav at the bottom. So I think I'm just going to get rid of this container, make it full screen, make it like how a web app would be. And so let's do that. I may also remove this dark mode view for now. We're still going to be styling dark mode. It will just be of a more manual toggle between the two. So let's go up to here, or our app, and we're going to get rid of this max width. Just kill that. We're also going to get rid of our trigger. Yeah, we're going to get rid of this stuff. That was just kind of temporary dev stuff. Also update the background color. So this will be, actually we don't even need this. I don't think. Well, we can use it. Feature gradient. So do BD slate 100, dark BD slate 950. But really, we're going to get rid of the margin here. So get rid of margin. We'll also do item start, put it at the top. There we go. And then we'll go down here to our app. We'll get rid of the shadow. Get rid of this shadow, dark shadow. Feature white, get rid of the rounded. We don't need this anymore. Actually, we can just set this to, we could set this to screen if we wanted. Yeah, we can do that. And then toggle app. We could do, yeah, we'll update this to do toggle dark mode. We'll make a better dark mode toggle, but this is just, once again, just for while we're doing development. So on click, we'll set dark equal to not dark, and then we'll add a class, which if dark, then we set dark, otherwise nothing. This should be a question mark. And then in our X data, we will at the top here, just do dark false. Now I click and it does dark mode. Cool. So now we can have like, yeah, this is full width. It's a much more realistic view. We'll still probably want to set a max width on this container, but we don't really need to do that right now. Then also here, we have this view. We'll say the dark mode toggle gets kind of in the way here. So actually what we'll do, we'll do toggle dark mode. On mobile, we'll set this to top 0, left 0. And then on small, we'll do this. So put it up here on mobile. And then on when it's larger, we'll first unset these. So small, top, it's not unset. Top, I thought it was unset. What properties are available here? Oh, auto. Yeah, and then small left auto. That's good. Cool. So have this here. All right, let's start on adding what it looks like when you click one of these images. So showing those comments, and then we can come back and kind of work on the finer styling details. So let's scroll down here to where we're looping through these. So for posts and posts, here we're gonna add a new X data. And with Alpine, you can nest X data, and it's only gonna be, whatever we set here is only going to be available to the children within this div. So if we did show app, or no, sorry, not show app, show comments, set this to false. And then on this image, we could do, we should really make it a button. So I'll do that, wrap it in a button, and then do a click, set show comments equals show comments. And then we can create a modal kind of for this. So we could do this really, we'll go to the bottom of the template and we'll add it here. And we can just do a div. We could do class fixed inset 0 bg white just to show. And we'll do x show equals show comments. And you can see when it's like this, it shows that. We'll also set that z index a little bit higher. Looks good. And then within this is where we're going to add, we'll add a big version of the image. So we'll do image source equals post.image. So we can see that, which is pretty cool. And this one will be here, this here. We'll add just a placeholder for a button, close, class bg white, p2 absolute top 0 right 0, and on click equals show comments equals show comments, just so we can go back here. We'll change that to like an X icon, but just while we're working through this. So we have that image, and then we can start adding our content for the comments. So what we can do is then do another template. So we'll do template, and here we'll do x4 equals for comment in post comments. So we're going to loop through the comments. We'll then create a div so that there's one child to this. And then here we can do say image and source, and we'll set this source to get user. We're going to get the user of comment user ID, and we're going to get the image. Now I click this, and you'll see that profile image. And I think they're all the same right here. Yeah, I should update these. And I'll do that shortly. But we have that image here. We can do, let me open up the image before I code this and see what that layout is. So it looks rounded. It's a new class. And so I don't have to keep clicking this, we'll do the same thing we did earlier for show app. So we can just set show comments to true. And this is going to set all of them to true, which is why we're seeing the last one, because really we have 3 modals here. We could update this so that there's only one created, and then we change that content by setting whatever the active post is. And there's definitely pros to that, mainly being that there's less elements rendered to the DOM. But I think I'm just going to leave it like this. Although I would recommend that if you were actually building this completely out as a usable app. But this is kind of just a project, so we'll leave it how it is. So to class, we'll do rounded. We'll do overflow hidden, and we actually want to do rounded full. Rounded full we'll do with, say, 12. And we'll do our aspect square trick with object cover. Getting close to the right size, so we'll bounce it up to 16. We also just want some padding in this entire section, so we'll wrap all of these comments in a div. And here we will add a class of maybe padding, just 8 for now. Looks good. Then here we're going to do class flex, so that this is flex row. We'll add a gap, maybe 6. And we'll set this to shrink 0 to make sure that it stays the same size. We'll also do item start, since you can see in the mockup that they are aligned to the top. Now we can add our div for our comment content. I'll just add some comments here. Profile image, comment, profile image, comments. Post modal. This really isn't just comments. And we may actually, let's click this, Command-Shift-L, and update this to show modal. Show post modal. Just for a bit better naming. And then here, this will be class flex column, maybe gap 1 for now. And then here we're going to have the name of the user. So we'll do, actually we have 2 text items next to each other. So we'll do just another quick flex, and we'll do items baseline since one of them is smaller. Align them to the baseline, gap 1, and then here we can do span and set the text equal to the get user. We're going to get user by comment, user ID, and we're going to get their name. Also, this get user, really I'm getting user property, so maybe I'll update this, or user attribute, user value. I'm not just getting the user. So let's click that, Command-Shift-L, and do get user prop. Once again, just so it's named a bit better. We can just duplicate this, and we'll do, this is just the comment / date. It's 3 hours. Here, we're gonna style this to be bold. Maybe text large, looks a little bit bigger. Yeah, and then here we'll do class text small. And let's increase that gap a little bit more, say 2. All right, first off, this person does not look like Noah Williams, so we gotta change these images, but that's okay. So we have this, then we can do a paragraph here where we're gonna have our comment. So this will be class comment content, not class, sorry, xtext. Awesome photo, sick comment. Then we'll have a button. This will be reply. And let's also do, we have our flex column, and we want to do item start here. Make sure these are pushed to the left. There we go. We'll do our replies in a second. Let's just style this a little bit. So here we'll use our kind of secondary color. So on light mode, oh, I have so many open. Light mode, blue is our primary, so we'll do yellow for that 3 hours ago, or amber. So we go into comment date class and we'll do text amber 500. Looks a little light, so let's do 6. Looks good. And then reply, this is our primary color, so we'll do class equals text blue 500. And maybe font medium just to make it a little bit bigger. But we have that button, that. Let's do dark mode. So actually just really quick, add it to the body instead of having to click this toggle. Dark. And then go to our modal. Post modal. Dark BG slate 800. And then we're just gonna inverse these colors. So on amber, on this blue, we'll do dark text amber 500. And then here we'll do dark text blue 500. I think that blue's fine. I don't think we need to go to 400. Yeah, I'll leave it like that. So that's looking good. And now we're gonna add our replies. So this thing's may get a little tricky. Let's go back up to remove this dark mode for now. So we'll come on down to where our comments are, our reply, and now we're gonna do another, you guessed it, template. And here we're gonna do x4 equals for reply in comment replies. And this is going to be styled pretty much the same. So this is where it could be nice to actually have like a component we can reuse, which I could do in Astro, but it's not that much reuse, so I think I'll just copy and paste it. Yeah, we'll just do that. So we'll take all this and paste that here, and then we'll do comment, change this to reply, and there we can see our reply. We also need the content. So do here, reply content, and we need this all in a div. So we'll wrap this in a div. There we go. Oh, and we want the image as well. And I missed this here, this wrapper. So we'll grab that, apply that here, and then we'll grab our image. Reply content, so we need another div here. Because then we also have this button. Really did not copy stuff well here, but there we go. And then this div has flex items start. Right, this div, yeah, is this one. This is where we have some duplicated classes, but yeah, it's not the end of the world here. We also may want to actually like slightly modify the reply styling so it's not the worst thing to have. So here in each reply, we'll do a, let's do a margin top, maybe 4. And then let's add some other ones just so we can see this filled out. So I have one comment with one reply. So add another reply. This was replied by user 1. This is really awesome. 1 hour ago. And then we'll take this entire comment. Take this entire comment and duplicate it and duplicate it. And then we'll just make these by 3, 1. Cool. And now fixed. Here we're just gonna, to this modal, since you can see I can't scroll here, we're just gonna do inset 0 overflow y auto. Now we can scroll. Cool. So yeah, this is definitely getting there. We have all of our comments pulled in for this specific post of the photo. We have the replies shown. We don't want replying to replies. So let's remove that. And yeah, we'll get rid of this button. We don't need that here. We can just reply to the original comments. We don't need super nested replies. And then also these, we'll add some padding here. So for each comment, we can add a margin bottom, maybe 8, 12. Mind that. And then let's also just do a padding top 12, make that consistent. Cool. So we got all that. We'll have to adjust the mobile styling of this, but that's looking all right. Next thing we want to do is add this view replies. So how we can do that is we'll go to our reply and replies. So for each comment, comment and post comments, here we can do another X data, and this will be show replies. Show replies. And we'll set this to false. And our comment content for reply and replies. And then we'll wrap this in a div. This to here. And do x.show equals show replies. So those are hidden. And then we can just add a button here called view replies. Get the text situated in a second, but on click, show replies equals show replies. Boop. Yeah, so we can just click this and view those replies. Also, we can then set this to xshow equals not show replies. I don't think we need to click it and then be able to hide them again. I don't think that's really all that important. So we have that there. And now let's get the text situated. So to view, and here we can do span and set x text equals, and we'll say if comment dot replies dot length. So if this length is greater than 0, Actually, we'll do, let's copy that. XShow equals show replies. We can wrap this whole thing in a div button and this XShow. And we won't even show any of this if show replies. We're only going to show it if show replies is greater, or not show replies, comment our replies. So if this has at least one reply, we're showing it. Comment replies dot length. Yeah. So only show it here. And then the xtext, if comment replies length is greater than 1, we will set this to can do comment dot replies dot length plus replies. Otherwise, just blank to see if it works. Yeah, so that works. Go over this in just a second. Otherwise, we'll do this reply. Can I do this? Cool. So what this is doing is checking if comment replies length is greater than 1. If it is, then we're going to set the value to the count, the number of replies, plus replies text. Otherwise, we just do, it's going to be 1 reply. So really, we could even just have this as 1 reply. But I'll leave it like that. It's fine. Actually, no. There's no reason in having to add that. So we'll just do 1 reply there. And to show that that works, what we'll do is go to our replies in some of these posts. And study content. So this has all these comments. And this is the last one. So this is the one that's going to be shown. And so we can get, we'll do one of these with no replies. This is just empty. So you can see that there. And then we'll do this one with only 1 reply. So there it is. View 1 reply, reply, view 2 replies. Now we can style this here. So we can set this text. We'll do class equals font. This looks really dark. I guess it's not that dark. Maybe extra bold. Yeah, that looks good. And then we're going to add the icon. So we'll go back on over to Hero Icons, Mini, and we'll do chevron. Copy down. And paste this in the button. And then we'll wrap all this. Span. Yeah, so we'll wrap all this in. I mean, we can do this just in a div. And do here, we'll make this flex item center gap 0.5 maybe. Cool. So this is pretty darn close so far. Let's just change it to dark real quick just to make sure we're looking good. Dark. If you want to reply. If you reply. Good. All right, let's work on cleaning up this design a little bit. So let's update show post modal to be set to false. Now I click and see it. Let's add a little transition when we click here. So what we'll do is we'll go down to our post modal and we'll do X transition. And let's do duration, let's see 500. It's a little slow, so we'll do 300. Or a little slow. That looks good. Okay, like that. Now let's adjust the styling of this a little bit. So let's go down to, so we have our image here. Let's do class. Let's do padding. Or no, let's do a div around this image. Yeah, let's do that. Grab that in a div. Here. We'll do class, maybe P8. Now it's like that. We'll do this only on small, because on mobile I want it to be full width, full height, just to really take up as much screen space as I can since it's limited there. We'll then do here, we'll do class rounded dash, maybe XL, overflow hidden. That's looking good. Let's update this close to be an icon. So we'll go to hero icons, close, outline, close, find that. Now we have that. Let's update the positioning of this. So let's move this out just a little bit, maybe see margin 4, rounded, full. Here. And I think I'm actually going to set this to sticky, potentially, and have it set stuck to the top so that, let me go to one, there's a lot of comments. It's always visible, and it starts off with space above it or around it, and we're going to set this to ML auto so that it goes all the way to the right. Does this need to be flex? Flex call, let's see. Yeah, there we go. Flex call. And then we're gonna remove, there's some margin here, or is it the gap? It is the gap, which is why this is spacing so much. So what we could do here is just do a negative margin bottom if we want, just to offset that gap. We could also just remove that gap. Yeah, let's remove the gap. And then what do I have? Oh no, I have padding here. Let's do padding top 0. Small padding 8, padding top 0. Small. There we go. It's a bit better here. I do want it lined up, so let's just increase the margin of the button. We'll do M4 is fine there, but then MX will change this to 8, I think it is. Yeah, we can do that. Move this off the top just a little bit, maybe top 2. And we can also change the styling of this a little bit, so we could do BG maybe 50, and backdrop, we could do a blur. So that's gonna style it like so. It's a little more subtle. Let's increase it just a little bit more, maybe 70. That looks good, I think. Here. Let's see what mobile's looking like. It's mobile here. Let's first off change this MX to be only small. Here, we can probably just leave it to 4. Yeah, and we'll get rid of the rounded. So this will only be on small. don't know if I love the white space above it on mobile, but I think it's fine. Otherwise, we could show it, but then it would start with it being over the image, which I'd rather extra white space up top and be able to show the full image. What we can do is reduce the margin a little bit here. So we'll do my2, it's small, we'll do my4. We can just do mx4 here. It's a little bit smaller. And we can see here, if I view these replies, once again, is fixed there to the top. The other thing I want to do, let's get rid of this dark mode button. It's in my way, I don't like it. We will add a dark mode toggle, but not yet. It's good. What we can do, I think we could do justify between to push these up. I believe. Let's go to the header. Flex, call, reverse. What if we do justify between? Yeah, so push those all the way to the top. And then here we don't want justify between, so we'll do small justify normal. It's like that. And then on mobile it goes here. The other thing we can do is make sure this always shows is we can set this header, or rather this, to sticky. And we'll do bottom 0. Sticky, bottom 0. Let me think here. Container. Oh, that's the entire container. Whoops. Sorry, here. Sticky, bottom 0. There we go. We can do BG white. And we could add some padding Y here, maybe, I don't know, 8, 4, 5. That looks good. We could do a similar effect here of like 70 backdrop blur. And negative margin X to just stretch it out a little bit. 4. Oh wait, this is 8, and then we could add PX8. Let's make this more. Let's make it super subtle. The blur. There we go. And we'll add a Z index here. Z10. Make sure the images still pop over. 90. I may change to 95 actually. Yeah, there we go. And that's good. I think it's super subtle, which I like. Now desktop, we're gonna make some adjustments here. So we could do the same thing here, but do on small bottom auto and do top 0. And now we have that, which is kind of neat. We'll have that at the top the entire time. We can adjust container the PY here. So we could do, what if I remove? I'm just curious. That's good there. We would want a little on the bottom. But maybe we just want it on the tab, on the speed tab. Could just do PY or PB-8. And then on mobile, PT8, and then small PT0. We may pull this out into wrappers for the different tabs, but this is a much better experience, I think. Interesting, it does that. Why isn't this all the way to the side? Oh, because we have this ML auto, but on small it goes to MX8. So we could set, we could set this to important, but that's crazy. Can't do that. That's bad. I mean, I could just also do small auto. Or I can update this to be small margin right. And this can be margin right. Yeah, that's better. It's cool. This is looking pretty good. Let's do that. That's here. What we can do potentially is have this so that it's a flex row when it's super wide. I'm unsure though if I want to do that. Let's work on these mobile comments first. Styling of these, so show post modal. We'll just set this to true while we're working on this. And also let's go to show replies and set this to true. Cool. Now we're going to go to our post modal, our comments, and here we have flex. So we'll do flex call, and then small we'll do flex row, like so. I think we'll also do, for the replies, I think we'll just hide the image on mobile. I don't know that it's all that important. So I think I'm just going to hide it on mobile. So reply, show replies, image, we'll do hidden, small block. And we could change the size of this. So here we could do, get rid of this, and here do text extra small, and here do class text small. So just scale everything down a bit. And then what we could also do is maybe add a border, so it's almost like a block quote. So image here, we could do padding left, I don't know, 8, 6, border left, border left, slate 300. We could do we could do amber. I mean, look good here. Amber 500. Yeah, I think that looks good. And I think I kind of like it for like just removing the images here too. It's time to see what that looks like. Or what if I make the image smaller? So here we'll do with 16 mobile, whereas we'll do with 12. Did that even change? Oh, no, because it's like that. Yeah, we just need this with 12. Could also change the gap a little bit, maybe gap 4. And then we'll get rid of the border here. So small border, none. And small padding left, 0. think that's pretty good. Then we also want to do, we'll just set the, wherever we're doing the name and date. So here we have that right here. We can set this to flex wrap. So if we go there, drop down, and then we'll do that also up in the comments. So we have that set name and date. So we'll set flex wrap here. Now that'll wrap down. We'll do gap x2, but I don't want a gap. Yeah, I don't want the gap here. So I think that's looking pretty good. It is a little weird because these are such short comments, so let's make them a little bit longer. Let's just do lorem ipsum. Yeah, and I mean already it just looks way better. Cool. It looks a lot better now. And small, it's still fine. Let's change the gap here of these images on mobile just to increase the proximity to better relate them to one another. So the comments, we can do gap x 6 and we'll do gap y2 maybe. So this looks good. We can close that out. And let's check dark mode. So do dark here. And that looks pretty good. Let's fix the close icon. So that's BG white 95. And dark, we'll do BG slate 800 95. Dark BG slate. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's okay. I actually want that to be that too. BG white slash, and this will do 70. I mean, this does not blur as much, so we may just decrease that just so you can see it a little bit better. Yeah. And let's see the header. So that looks good here. And that looks good there. One thing I do notice is our icons here when it's really small. So we can adjust these. We could just get rid of the gap completely when it's small. So let's go to our navigation. Navigation here and gap 4. We'll only do this when it's small. There we go. That's better. If you have a screen smaller than that, then I'm sorry. I mean, we can also slightly change this. So we could do Pix2. Let's get rid of show comment, show post modal. Set this to false. And show replies to false. The inset's a little weird now for the before, so we'll update that before inset. This will be small. Otherwise, we'll do before inset x1. Yeah, that's good. All right. I think we're in a good spot here. Could update some hover icons. So one thing you'll see here is my scroll bar on the side, and that's because it's scrolling the background, like the layer behind here, so you can see I'm scrolled at the bottom. And if I were to scroll up to the top, close this, now I'm scrolled at the top. So what we can do for that is for the modal, in show post modal, where we create this, is we can set the class of, what is it? It's contain, overscroll, contain. So now when I am here, I'm scrolling and it is trapped within the div that I'm hovering over instead of going to parent divs. So this one I can scroll, but I won't scroll back here, which is what we want. All right, the next thing I want to do here is improve these dates. So currently these are just added as strings, but we're going to update these to use date format and then proper display, hours ago, minutes ago, yesterday, 2 weeks ago, a year ago. So for that, I'm going to add a new function here, and I'm actually just going to paste this in. I did this, not recording, but it's kind of long, so there's no need to type all this out, but this will be available in the I code this submission that's linked, or custom project. So all this is doing is we're passing in the date string, which is a standard date format, and then we're getting the current date. We're setting all the difference for seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years. These are approximate, obviously, because the number of days in a month vary, but it's close enough. And then this determines what we return. And a lot of these, if it's 1, we just exclude the S at the end. So now, to use this, what I can do is where we're calling .date, we can update this to get time from now. Could probably have a better name for this, but I think that's fine. Date, and we'll go here as well. Right now, these are going to show not a number errors. So we're going to update the values here. So let me get some date values. So this will be the first comment. I don't think I need the time zone. Comments, awesome photo. Oh, this is the second one. Yeah, so there we go. 20 hours ago here. And then if I were to say copy this, paste this here, it makes sense if this was after. So we'll say 23, 20 hours ago, 18 hours ago. Cool. So I'm going to update these dates right now to all respect this format. Additionally, I'm going to go through and just add more data to these posts. So update images, update descriptions, add more photos, and I will be right back once that is done. All right, so I updated the JSON data here. I actually used ChatGPT for some of this, and surprisingly, a lot of the comments make sense. This one clearly doesn't. It's not in the Rockies, but fog is kind of interesting how, even though these were kind of just completely randomly generated, they're fairly accurate. And I think I'll leave them as they are, even if they're a little bit off. So a couple of things I noticed once I added more data in. First thing is I forgot to update the image for the replies. So we'll just go to date, or sorry, the reply, the image here. So you can see within the replies, we have the set to comment still. So I just need to update that to reply. And now, yep, that shows that image, which is good. The next thing I noticed is right here, the aspect ratio is different. So it's loading the full image. And what we can do is set the aspect ratio so it's consistent. So we'll go up to the image here and we'll do aspect and we'll just do custom. So we'll do an arbitrary value here and we'll maybe do 4:3. Overflow hidden. Oh, this is in the modal. As you can see, what's this missing? It's weird. So we'll go up here to the image, post image, and we'll do class aspect equals 4:3. There we go. And we'll also just do object cover. All right, now those are all consistent. Next thing I want to do is work on the hover and focus styles for these buttons as well as the ones here. First thing is within this modal, when we're tabbing, you'll see that there's a bunch of tabs that aren't doing anything. And this is because they're tabbing through the content in the background. To fix this, there's actually an Alpine plugin called Focus. So what this does is it traps the focus in a specific area that we want. So all we set on it is X trap whenever we do the X show, and then I'll keep the focus within that container. So we just need to copy the script and paste it in before the Alpine one. So paste this here, and then we'll go to X show equals show post modal here. And I'll just copy this, paste it down, and do X trap. Now if I click on this and tab, it's already within this container, and it just tabs through the buttons within here, which is a lot nicer. Let's work on the focus styles for these as well as hover styles. So start with the modal, show post modal. We'll just set this to true, so it's open. And we'll find this reply button. And we can copy a lot of the similar styles that we used. We could pull these out into like some data that's reusable. I'm just gonna write it in here. There's still not that many. So we'll do transition all hover BG, and actually we'll do blue and amber for this. We'll do 2.50. Let's just do blue 500. This keeps removing focus here. Oh, is it because it's auto-focusing in here now? That's funny. I think the X trap is actually setting the focus. I'm going to remove this temporary. I believe it's setting the focus every time it reloads. So then I can't type in here, which is not what I want. This will do dark hover. We'll do dark hover, PG, amber, 510. So I'm just setting the opacity to 10 for this background color on these. I'll then do PX2, PY1, rounded, maybe medium. That looks good. We could adjust this positioning. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So I'm going to set negative margin left to 2, which is what the X value is for padding. So there's 8 pixels of padding on the left, and then I'm offsetting, basically moving it over to the left by 8 pixels. That way it's lined up here. And when you hover, you can see actually where the element is. We'll also do that active style of active scale 95, just for the little click. Scale. There we go. And then we'll do our focus style. So on focus, actually it's first set outline none, and then focus visible to ring and focus or ring blue 500 and dark mode ring amber 500. There we go. That looks good. Let's see what dark mode looks like real quick. Good. So those accept, let's set, oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's set focus style on, actually we also have the view replies button. So let's add a reply to this last one just so it shows up. Let's copy this. Replies. All the way down here. This feels like a hidden paradise. And the person, someone else replied and said, I completely agree. This place is beautiful. And they said this on, that's fine. So we can see that reply here. And let's update the styling of that button. So we'll go to view here, this button. So class, we're gonna do hover PG slate 100, dark hover PG slate 800, or no, 700, px2, py1, py 1.5, do rounded, let's do large, it's a little bit bigger button. It's good. We'll update or increase that padding to 3. Then we'll offset margin left by 3 to move it over. Looks good. Then we're gonna do our active scale 95, transition all. And then our focus style. So here, and honestly I could copy these from the nav buttons. I think I'll go up and do that real quick. So we have our navigation, these buttons. We want dark before small. Actually, there's a lot of stuff there. No, I'm not gonna do that. Transition all. And then focus, so outline none. And then focus visible. This is what we'll do. Ring and ring blue 500, dark ring yellow 500. Or sorry, amber. And we'll remove dark mode. Looks good. And lastly, let's update the close button. So that's going to be in our show post modal, where we have xShow set, xShow post modal, and then here we have our sticky button, and we're going to do transition all. On hover, we'll set BG to slate 100, and we'll do 70, same opacity we have for this white. It's a little bit lighter, but that's okay. What that will do is allow us to still show the blur here when we hover. So that, and then dark will do hover BG slate 750. Do outline none, we'll do transition, I already have that. Outline none, we'll do active scale 95. And then we'll do focus visible, ring blue 500, and dark ring amber 500. And let's add this back to trap focus. Now there it is. Check dark mode real quick. That looks good. All right, let's get rid of the show post modal being set to true. We no longer need that. Okay, we have our replies. Close out here. Our focus is locked in. I think I'm going to reduce the margin up here. So on the replies, go to here, margin top. Maybe I'll do 4, but I'll do margin Y. So top and bottom to 4. That looks good. Let me set one more so I can see. So we'll do this. Someone else said, is it the Rockies? We'll do that. Is it the Rockies? And this guy is a jerk and said, no, this is actually on Mars. And we'll update time. So this guy asked this day. Actually, let's knock these back a little bit because this is the current date, so it may throw an error if it's in the future. Oh, and that's still, the margin's a little weird. So let's update that. Go to show replies. MY4. Y, we can do margin top 4, margin bottom 8. Let's see there. That's better. Looks good. And then here, let's update the grid columns. So grid calls, we'll do maybe large grid calls 3. Looks good. All right, now let's update the styles here for the button. And I think I'm gonna pull them out. I'm just copying and pasting them a lot, and that's not great. So what I can do is I'll go to my data here, and I'll actually add this data, the Tailwind classes. So we'll do maybe focus classes, and then we'll do maybe let's do button classes and try and keep these generic. So we'll say button classes. And so here we can do, we'll grab them from here and just remove some of these that we don't need. So button classes, we don't want anything with positioning. I think we can, I'm going to change the rounded based on the rounded padding I'll change based on the button. I'll leave outline none, transitional. I'm going to remove all this before. Well, this was not the class I wanted, so I'll just write them. So we'll do hover PG slate 100, and actually let's just search for them real quick. Hover PG slate. Let's see, 50, 100. Let's copy these. Should have done this at the beginning, but it is what it is. So don't want group, don't want this, don't want this, don't want rounded full. We don't want padding. We do want outline none. Ring blue, transitional, hover, PG slate 100. Get rid of that. Focus visible. Get rid of that. Focus visible. Ring. Active scale, dark ring amber. Dark hover, PG slate 700. Dark hover, don't need this. This or this. So there are my button classes, and now I can go up to like where this heart is. So that's on dot likes. It's in this button, and we can do class set this to button classes. Now you can see that here. And the focus style. And so now we can just add on our padding, to padding Y1. Button classes, and these will be up here. And we'll do rounded medium. There we go. So that was way easier. I should have done this sooner, but I didn't. But we will go in and update. Let's update them here too. Replies. So here we can do class equals button classes and then remove vast majority of this. I think all of that. That should work. Yeah. So that, we can also set that in a bunch of places. So I'm going to go through and update that real quick. All right, I went through and for all the buttons replaced where I could. The classes, the Tailwind classes in here with button classes to pull those button classes that are identified within my Alpine. Right here and paste this in. And now if I need to, I can update these and it'll be reflected in a whole bunch of buttons. The only area where, or the important thing to call it is for buttons like this, where I'm doing send custom. So for this one, I'm doing a different background color and hover. All that you need to make sure that you do is do important. So do exclamation mark before to make sure that that takes precedence over the button class that's added here. I think this is also a good point to address, like, why would you do this instead of just adding a class, you know, BTN class and then defining those. And really the reason is the benefit of using Tailwind is that once I use one of these classes once, anywhere else I use it, it's not adding more CSS. So the CSS is already created for this, and it's just adding markup within the HTML. Whereas if I had this as a BTN class, used it, and then somewhere else I used outline none, that's generating outline none class, and then it's also generating the CSS within BTN. Cool. So we have pretty much everything good how we want it right now. I think I'll adjust the spacing of this just a little bit. And yeah, let's adjust the spacing of these cards. So we'll do right here where we're doing that name. Let's just do px3 p left 5. Or we could do, I don't mind where these are. What we could do is this button, just do similar negative margin right to pull that over. Yeah, that's good. All right. Other things to do here are add the description and the username for the photo. And then we'll want to have the ability to click on profiles and see that information. But I think this is a good stopping point. So we managed to add this feed tab with all of our different images that are pulled in from our posts object, JSON object. Within these, we have a count for likes, which we can update whether or not it's liked by the current user. We can also click on each image and open up a modal with that image and with comments that are on it. We can see all those replies. We can view them. The dates are accurate, as in how they're displayed. So we have different formatting based on, if it's days ago, if it's minutes ago, yesterday. Also, we have it's working on mobile. So a nice alternative layout here. We have focus styles for everything. We have hover styles, active styles. We also are trapping the focus within this modal. And then we have our new nav layout, really our entire page layout. So we have the navigation pinned here, or sticky rather, and then sticky on the top here. Yeah, so I think that's a good stopping point. We made a bunch of changes. Next up, we'll be working on, we'll add the description, user information about who posted this, and then also the profile info. So that'll be when you click on the profile, will show this information to follow them, their account. Yeah. And the one other thing actually we'll add is the ability to reply. So we'll build that out as well. And once we create the reply, we'll add it to that post object as a reply to a comment. And then also another thing we can add here is the ability to comment directly on the photo as well as reply to individual comments. So a lot of cool stuff to come, and I hope this was helpful.